let's just get down to the brass tacks. The Detroit Pistons are picking 5th overall for the 2nd year in a row. And a lot of people, they're going to sit here and they're going to say it was rigged. The NBA doesn't want Detroit to get a good player. This draft sucks this year. Doesn't matter how you slice it. But I look at Steve Eiserman and the Detroit Red Wings in the same arena, probably down the hallway in their operations. I know the Pistons are at the Henry Ford Center, but you know that they can talk to each other. But I remember Eiserman, he got screwed in the lottery twice. They were really, really bad. And somehow they came up with Mo Sider and Lucas Raymond. So I know it's a different sport, but at any point as a general manager, you should be able to get some talent that is underrated, that you scouted, that you found out, and you just take your chance. Because at fit 5 and 6, you're not getting a player like you're not getting a LeBron or Anthony Edwards or any of those guys. You could potentially get a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You can get a guy like Steph Curry, or you can get a guy, anything along those lines. Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, like those were guys that dropped, and their general managers had the wherewithal to pick them at the spot they were taking. A lot of teams passed on them, and they paid the price, and they got the best player, and that's what good general managers do. Is Troy Weaver capable of picking the best player right now? Like, just go through it. Jay Ivey fell into his lap. Cade Cunningham was the number 1 overall pick, fell into his lap. Killian Hayes was a guy that he drafted because it was low enough, and he passed over Tyrese Halliburton. Strike 1. Isaiah Thompson, we're seeing what's going to go on with him, but so far, it doesn't look that promising. And then, Jalen Duren, he could be a good player, but I don't think he's a superstar. But, you still owe the New York Knicks a pick from that draft. So if you don't have, so the way it goes is in 2025, if you have the 1 through 13th pick, you'll be own that pick. But if it's 14th through 30, you'll give it to New York. In 2026, if you're still picking 1 through 11, you get the pick, but 12 through 30 goes to New York. And then 1 through 9, if you're still in 2027, if you're still drafting in the top 10, the New York Knicks would get it if it's 10 or 30, 10 through 30. And you don't have any draft picks of any other teams. And that's kind of the crux of the matter here. I want to feel bad for Troy Weaver. I want to feel bad for the organization. There's just no way to feel bad for this organization. Troy Weaver has not built up any draft capital whatsoever. He's had bad contracts all throughout this roster. I mean, the flyer on Joe Harris, like what a bad signing that was, and it really helped the team out. Like Brooklyn signed the kid Cam Johnson, who the Pistons could have went after, but the Pistons are unserious. And does an unserious organization get help from the basketball gods? Absolutely not. Troy Weaver has been here a while. The draft capital that he's built up is nothing. Every general manager will tell you in the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, when you got the draft capital, you got extra draft picks. You got extra lottery tickets, as they call them. And when you get those lottery tickets, sometimes they can be something. I'm pretty sure that Bob Myers of the Golden State Warriors, former GM of the Golden State Warriors, didn't think, damn, getting this guy Draymond Green in the 2nd round or the 27th pick or wherever the hell he got him, I'm pretty sure he didn't think, wow, this is going to be a catalyst of our championships going forward. I'm pretty sure he didn't think that. But it's a lottery ticket. And what I see from Troy Weaver is the inability to take those lottery tickets. Yes, you do have to part with some players. Yes, it sucks. But that's the way to build. That's the only way to build. And when you come from an organization like the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they have hoarded draft picks to where they have so many draft picks that they can go and trade them, and they could still keep some and still have too much. Like the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have like tons of draft capital right now, and they're the top seed in the Western Conference. It just goes to show you, the Pistons have never been a serious organization under Tom Gores. Troy Weaver is not a serious general manager. I'm telling him it's not a serious president of basketball operations or whatever how kind of role he's on because I don't think that's his role. I just think he's a crony. And if I was a general manager or I was a guy that was going to be hired as a president of basketball operations, would I want this job? No. Like I see a list of people that are involved in the hiring process, and you got Horst from Milwaukee, and you got other incredible names. But why would they come to the Pistons? The Pistons have shown over and over and over and over again that they are not a serious organization. They are farther behind than they are ahead, and there's no they don't have this window where we go, okay, if they get this player, they can go on to the next. They don't have that. This is a bottom of the barrel organization. It's not. It's sad because the Pistons are one of the top teams in basketball history in terms of the fan base and the championships, and it just seems to me that Tom Gorse doesn't even freaking care about those people who have pretty much put their heart and money into this organization, and he has put the middle finger at him. Like, do I feel bad for the Pistons fans? Absolutely. Do I feel bad for Tom Boris and Troy Weaver? No, they put us in this position, and they're not taking us out. I'm especially Troy Weaver. There's no chance he takes us out of um, this bleak opportunity. But we'll see. We'll see what happens at the draft. We'll see what happens this offseason. But the Pistons, I mean, it's just one thing after another. Like, again, they don't have the right players. They have to make critical decisions on their players like Kate Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. Can they play together? Who are you going to trade? Who can you get the most for? And that's kind of what's going to have to happen. This is going to be another rebuild before the rebuild's over. It's kind of like the Tigers. You know, the Tigers, they rebuilt that one time. It's not that good. They don't have enough pieces. So they're rebuilding again. And Scott Harris is going to try to go on a bit of, try to go differently. But he's rebuilding the farm system. And it's the Pistons that are going to be rebuilding again. Like the Red Wings did it with Ken Howland going into Stevie Y. Stevie Y had to rebuild that team. Scott Harris is rebuilding the Al Avila Tigers, and that's what's going to happen. And the next general manager is going to rebuild the Pistons after Troy Weaver rebuilt the Pistons. And it's just they could never. These three teams could not get anything right. It's kind of like the Lions. If you're around in the the Millen years and the Mark Mayhew era and the Bob Quinn era, they were consistently tearing it down, building it up, tearing it down, building it up, and there's just no consistency in that product. And we're seeing it with three teams in the city, and it seems like the Pistons are the farthest apart from any of those teams. We'll see you in the next video of Detroit, Between the Whistles Detroit. I'll see you in the next video, Detroit Pistons basketball.